no nays and motion passes.
We have special orders of business. The first order of business has been withdrawn.
So ordered.
The second order of business is a presentation, the Michoud Assembly Facility.
I'm going to ask the members of the Michoud facility to come forward. For those of you in the audience and in the public watching, there are many people who do not realize that in the city of New Orleans, we have built every rocket that has taken an American into space. I think that's correct. And we are currently building the rocket that will take Americans to Mars. And these are the men who are in charge of that process. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Councilman. Again, I really appreciate the council inviting us out today to talk about the work that we do at Michoud. And it's a privilege to be here. We really appreciate the support from the council. Let me also take a moment. Probably about a month ago, Councilmember Gray, as well as the mayor, came out for the dedication of the front door project. And we were very pleased with the outcome of that particular project. For those who are not aware, that was a $6 million investment that the city of New Orleans came in and improved some of the drainage efforts there, as well as repaving the road that leads down to Michoud. So again, we really appreciate that support, and we continue to look for partnerships and collaborations that we have with this great city council. Let me just take a quick moment and walk you through. I'll just kind of talk verbally about the status and the work that we do at Michoud. Of course, Michoud is a multi-tenant facility, but the primary tenant work that we do there is for NASA. And we're in the process of building the space launch system, which is the rocket that Councilmember Gray was talking about earlier. It'll be one of the most powerful rockets that we have ever built here in the United States, similar to what we did in the old Saturn days. Again, this rocket is a massive rocket, and that's what we have on display for you here today. When you think about this particular rocket, again, it's being manufactured and built right there in East New Orleans. At the same time, we also built an actual spacecraft, which will carry 4 humans that actually sits on top of that particular rocket. This particular effort is slated to fly into space in the 2018 time frame. And again, when you start talking about journeys to Mars, you can't get to Mars without going through New Orleans. So I think it's very important that we keep that in mind when we think about all the wonderful work that we do right here in East New Orleans. So again, we do some great work at Michoud and continue to do that great work. But I mentioned earlier that we're a multi-tenant facility. We also have USDA, Department of Agriculture also is there doing a lot of work for us, supporting this particular community, and also the Coast Guard is another agency. When you look at all the federal agencies, there's roughly 8 federal agencies that are right there in Michoud, right here in East New Orleans. At the same time, we have commercial tenants that also do work right there behind the gates at Michoud. We have Blade Dynamics, we also have Textron, and also we have the Movie Production Corporation there as well. So again, we're very proud of that relationship. That helps to keep our costs at a minimum when we talk about the taxpayers' dollars and make sure that we put those dollars in, invest into the actual rocket that's going to take humans to deep space. The impact of the work that we do for NASA and Michoud, we're talking about an $850 million impact annually. And that's based on FY13 economic data. That creates roughly 5,400 jobs in the area, and roughly $20 billion of that goes back to tax revenues to the city of New Orleans. What I have done now is challenge my team to try to increase the overall tenant use that we have there at Michoud by 20%, bringing even more jobs and also more tax revenues to the New Orleans area. So we're very proud of that commitment and the work that we're doing. We're going to try to have that 20% increase by this time next year. When I think about the work that we do at Michoud, I think about all the things that happen on a day-to-day basis. And I think about some of the things when you start thinking about the footprint that we have, the impact that we have. I do a lot of traveling back and forth between Huntsville, Alabama, which is our headquarters for Michoud. But again, when you talk about the production of the rocket, the hands-on work, that's done right here. And that is critically important to our nation's space industry and our journey to Mars. A lot of times I'm sitting there and I'm preparing for my work and I'm going over some materials, and almost 90% of the time somebody sitting beside me said, "You work at NASA?" I said, "Yes, I work at NASA." And they said, "Oh, you're going to New Orleans to spend some time and relax." I said, "No, I'm going to New Orleans to work. I work in New Orleans." They said, "Well, NASA doesn't do any work in New Orleans that I'm aware of." I'm like, "You're kidding me. We got an 830-acre facility out there doing rockets. They've been doing rockets since the 1960s. And this is amazing. I'm talking about individuals that go to some of the universities here, people that live in New Orleans area, or people that may be coming in touring New Orleans. Of course, New Orleans is known for its great jazz, it's known for its great food, it's known for Bourbon Street. But at the same time, I think we got a jewel that we don't talk about enough. And that jewel is Michoud and building that heavy lift rocket and the work that NASA does in this particular community. One thing I'd like for the council and consider as we kind of move forward over the next few months and years is think about ways that we can continue that partnership. We got the front door effort that is already in place, again, that really provides a nice, beautiful entry to the Michoud facility. We need to start thinking about ways that we can maybe collaborate and partnership more to get the word out about NASA being right here in New Orleans and the great work that we do. Combining with the great effort that's already been done with New Orleans, with the jazz and great food and those particular aspects, but also talk about the STEM effort, inspiring our next generation of explorers. And those will be the individuals that will go on to Mars. So again, we're going to build that rocket here, but we also will inspire our youth to also get involved in this program so they can be some of the first astronauts to step foot on the great planet called Mars. So I'd like the council to kind of continue to consider that as we move forward, different ways we can either have a business center or some type of collaboration to make sure that folks do realize that we have NASA right here in our backyard. The next thing I'd like to ask the council to consider is also with the industrial park area that we have right across at Michoud and also the areas that we have within Michoud. Collaborating and figuring out what are some of those light companies that can take advantage of either the ports or the waterways or the large-scale manufacturing that we do, and also the advanced manufacturing when it comes to building large-scale structures and the welding techniques, all the great work that we do there at Michoud. What are some of those industries that can take advantage of maybe move to this particular area, even bringing in more tax revenue and more jobs? So those are things I think we continue to collaborate and improve as we move forward to the future. Again, I'd like to thank the council for the work that you guys do on a day-to-day basis. We look forward to continuing to work together, and we're just so excited to be in this community, and we thank you guys for what you do on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you very much. Does any council member have? Mr. President.
I would like to, you thanked us, but we really should be the ones thanking you. We have a jobs problem in the city. We have an inspiration problem when it comes to certain young people. And I can tell you that when I was growing up, I think everybody that was growing up with me wanted to be an astronaut, wanted to at least go to the moon one time before they did anything else. Had either a spaceship or a silver space jacket. And I think having those dreams early really helps you know that the future is limitless. You said something that I think you need to start putting on shirts, selling in the French Quarter, putting it on mugs. You can't go to space or Mars without going through New Orleans. That needs to be everywhere. I think we can cancel out the drug 1 and drug 2 t-shirts. We can put this on. And I think we might change our trajectory, to borrow a term that may be used out there. A lot of people like to describe the French Quarter as a jewel of the city. But when you really think about the fact that nothing has been propelled out of the Earth's atmosphere that was not at some point in time built over there in eastern New Orleans. I think we have to describe eastern New Orleans not only as a jewel of the city, but a jewel of this country.
That's right.
So thank you for what you've done. I will commit myself to figuring out every single way that I can to make sure that everybody in the city knows about our jewel. A tree falls in the woods, you know, it takes the same amount of energy for it to fall down and hit the ground, but if nobody sees it, nobody hears about it, what have we done? So we got to make sure people know all that good work is being done out there. So thank you.
Councilman, I want to thank you guys again. Again, I thought about that steel drum band that was playing earlier, and I was inspired by the work they did. As a kid, I was always interested in music. I played guitar a little bit, I played the piano a little bit, tried to play the trombone a little bit when I was in high school with the band. Those things didn't quite work out for me, so at least I had something to kind of fall back on. I was able to fall back, and hopefully NASA found something that's some use of me, and I'll be able to work for NASA for the last.
Serious fallback, man.
I'm working as hard as I can, so again, this is a great community. I think we do some great things together, so let's keep up the great work and let's move everything forward.
Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Gray, for making sure that you're bringing special orders of business before the council that really deal with our most pressing issues, jobs, inspiration, and making sure that we can benefit from things that are going on in the world.
Well, and first of all, before I close, does any other council person? Okay.
Yeah, just to thank you for your good work, and I certainly look forward to working with Councilmember Gray. As you said, New Orleans East is very special to us, and I've been out to the facility, and it's really kept quiet, but it's just great work known around the world. And so I will certainly help Councilmember Gray in showcasing what you've done, and I thank you for bringing me here this morning to remind all of us.
First of all, before we end, tell us the dimensions of this. I mean, we have that little model there, but I don't think people realize what that is.
Councilman, I'm glad you brought it up, but I've got to mention this in my remarks. This rocket that you're looking at is what we call, I like to refer to it as our Block 1 rocket. It's a 70 metric ton vehicle that can carry, again, crew into space as well as cargo. When you really look at this rocket, and hopefully we have some football fans here today, if you lay that rocket on this side, it actually will stretch from end zone to end zone. So this particular model here is going to be, the first block that come off is going to be 320 feet long. That will look at stretch from end zone to end zone. So when you go to the next football game, you watch football on TV, I want you to think about this heavy rocket. Now, that's block 1. That's what we're going to fly in the 2018 time frame. In the 2021 time frame, we'll hopefully have block 2, which would be a rocket that's 360 feet tall. That's about the size of the Hyatt Hotel downtown New Orleans. So this is a massive vehicle. Again, nothing of this mankind has been built in the U.S. that's going to be comparable to it. We do have commercial companies that build rockets, but it won't be of the same lift and capacity and have the kind of thrust that you need to get out to deep space. We do a lot of satellites that go to Mars. Those are missions that can take anywhere from 8 to 10 years for a center satellite. We're talking about a rocket that can carry satellite as well as individuals. Again, it's a long time, but we're talking about an 8 or 9 month mission. That is a huge amount of time and savings and schedule that you can do to go do research and science in space, and then bring some of that research and science back here at home that we can take advantage of here on Earth. So that's what we're doing at Michoud, and it is a massive rocket. It's kind of hard to really get the scale of it. Hopefully, again, when you look at your next football game, think about it stretching from end zone to end zone. That's the first rocket that we put out. So this is a massive, huge vehicle. We're very proud of it, and I think that's a national asset that we won't ever see.
And may I ask you, so how many jobs are we talking about? For what period of time? What kind of jobs?
Great question, Council Lady. Again, we have roughly about 5,400 folks that come across Michoud on a day-to-day basis. Once you start looking at the details of the actual heavy lift rocket, you're talking anywhere from about 600 to 500 people right here in New Orleans. But if you look at the SLS program, it really stretches across the U.S. We got vendors, we have designers, we have engineers, technicians scattered all over this country supporting this particular program. The reason that's important, one of the jobs I had before I came here, think about support for any federal agency. it's good to have good support across the country. So of course we do a lot of great work. My career started out in Texas at the Johnson Space Center, but also I spent time at Marshall over the last 5 years. But also I had 3 opportunities to go to NASA headquarters. And one of the things that I found is totally valuable is that you got to make sure you have great stakeholders and bipartisan support across the board. So I spent a lot of time working on that, getting that message out to different congressional members, senators, etc., and also at the education university type levels. And make sure that folks really understand the true value of what NASA does on a day-to-day basis. When you think about technology, you think about innovations and new startup companies, a lot of that technology and support comes from the work we do at NASA. So again, being a director at MISHU, over here, position I just received over the last 6 months. Again, we're trying to bring some new innovative approaches. We're trying to be a little bit more aggressive on how we get our messages out. And again, our primary goal, our primary job, my primary job being a director at MISHU is make sure we deliver this rocket on time. So that's what I'm here for.
Great, thank you very much.
Councilman Grosset.
Thank you and good morning. The manufacturing of liquid natural gas tanks, can you give us an update on those jobs? I remember when I was at the state, we amended the quality jobs program in the LED so that could be inclusion as relates to the criteria for that incentive.
Sure. That's one of our tenants. I talked about our tenants that we have, and that's one of our tenants, IS and GS, which is kind of a subsidiary to Lockheed Martin. They're building those tanks right there at MISHU, right beside where we're building SLS. They got a spot right there, nice, actually a really nice area. We have they have completed 2 of those tanks. They have already shipped out for testing and evaluation. We're in the process of shipping out that last tank in the December time frame. In that particular point, they will go off and do more prototyping and testing of those particular tanks. Those tanks, again, are massive. If you look at them, they weigh roughly about, there's an inner tank and an outer tank. Those tanks weigh about, totally, they weigh about 250,000 pounds. What we've learned, in order to move something of that size around, we had to go back and look at our infrastructure. We look at some of the culverts and the banks that we had to cross. We realized we had to strengthen some of those particular culverts. So it really helped us long term, because when we start talking about helping IS and GS to move their tanks out to sea, out to the ports, we realized that we got to shore up some of our infrastructure. So that helped us from a NASA perspective as well. What our plan is and our goal is, again, we're on schedule to deliver that last thing in the December time frame. At that point, the teams will go off and do their evaluation assessments. And hopefully, when they start back rebuilding those tanks, and if it works for that industry, they'll be building those tanks right back here at MISHU.
Thank you. And how many jobs are we talking about currently?
It's a small number now. We're talking roughly probably about 30, 35 jobs. But again, once you go into full-scale production, that number is like
Scales up, right? Correct. Well, I'm happy to hear about the progress, and as y'all improve and succeed and progress, I always say don't forget about our colleges and universities here in town and include them in some of that expertise and knowledge.
Mackie brought it up as well. We have the National Center for Advanced Manufacturing. Of course, we work very closely with University of New Orleans, but also LSU. But that's another area that we can invite students in to actually come and learn how to do advanced manufacturing. So we've been trying to get that word out as well. One of the things that I'm going to do, again, I've only been in the job 6 months, but I've been trying to take advantage of the time that I spend with the teams. But I'm trying to get out to all the universities here in town and make sure they understand the work that we do at MISHU. So I've been doing more of that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the final thing is, by training, you are a rocket scientist. Is that correct?
My background is a family of 5. I'm the youngest. We all majored in mathematics and computer science. So I came in with NASA with my intentions really to come work for a couple of years and then kind of get into business. And even, believe it or not, kind of do a little local politics. I spent some time working on Capitol Hill, and I realized that NASA was probably the right place for me to be. So you guys do a heck of a job and keep that great work up. So.
Well, our job is insignificant compared to what you do, and thank you very much. And thank you for the presentation. And we will be as good a partner as we can be. And this is not a New Orleans East deal. This deal is bigger than even the city of New Orleans. It is a national deal. You are the national center for building heavy lift, is that the right term? Heavy lift rockets.
Yes, sir.
And thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Councilman McGray, I gotta say, if you keep bringing in these cool special exhibitions, my stomach start watching drama. You're up in my food factor. In a major report, now this, making me look good.
We're working on it.
Madam Clerk. Go to our third order of business.
Third order of business. Presentation, Office of Public Health and Change, recognizing the second annual NOLA HIV/AIDS Awareness Week and National World AIDS Day in the efforts to disseminate HIV/AIDS in New Orleans communities.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I am sitting in for Councilmember Cantrell, who wanted to be here today, but she, unfortunately, because of the rescheduling the council meeting, she could not. Today is the annual World AIDS Day. It's an opportunity for people worldwide to unite in the fight against AIDS. Louisiana and New Orleans are heavily plagued by a high rate of STD and HIV compared to the rest of the state and the country.